9 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm getting out of here.
It's her fault, no.
Well, we can't do your
I wanted to catch.
Can't you live
For some reason I thought today was Christmas.
Yeah, Holly.
Right.
Yeah. Let's just get out of here.
Rabbi Feinberg, very young,
Yeah, about me, but
very personal. Seems to be really well received. So, yeah, no, I think it's in a
you never know with 22.
trajectory.
I think you should reschedule
No, sure, I don't get it.
And I agree. Not on the same side.
How long is these? Yeah. It's gonna be exciting.
Never again. Was this like picked out of the budget? Thank you. It is much easier to tote around a book than stare at my phone all the time.
I checked earlier.
My kids are like, oh, you have a phone? Oh, don't touch that. I'm like, no.
No, because I checked earlier and it wasn't.
Oh, yeah, it came late. I had to
And the next thing I knew, things had been, apps had been deleted, stuff was, I was like, what? Should I
It's not a
have
good
it for
idea.
30 seconds?
That's not a good
How
idea.
old's your grandson?
He's 8 months.
Oh my god, I was gonna say, there's no way you're old enough to be a grandma, so. That's wild. I have to figure out Robin. We're at 6 o'clock.
So I texted her to see if she's logging on.
Okay. So, yeah. Right, nice. Yeah. Yeah, it amazes me how much young Israel has grown.
It's amazing. It wasn't just
There's my little man.
Oh my goodness, was he up in every, is he grumping or is he not grumping? Oh, look at him. So should we wait
I was
like
just
a
talking to
minute?
someone about that.
Or should we just go ahead?
you don't even take that.
We can go ahead. If I see her pop up, I'll let her log on.
Okay.
But she said she was at South Station, so it
Yeah.
may not be a.
Okay.
Agenda, all this is on.
Good evening, everyone. I'm calling to order the Tuesday, March 11th, 2025 Southeastern Regional School Committee meeting. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And let's stand for a moment of silence, please. You may be seated. Okay, first up on the agenda is our student representatives report, and Adriana.
So, winter sports have officially wrapped up, with one exciting exception is that our cheer team competed at States this Sunday and they made it to nationals. In track and field, 4 of our male athletes will be competing at nationals, which is an extremely rare and impressive accomplishment for our seniors. It marks only the third time in the school's history that a relay hurdle team has qualified for the event. March is packed with a bunch of major school events. Today, we had the March Madness tournament where students got together and created their own teams and essentially named their teams and went back and forth. It'll continue tomorrow. Today there was a knockout round. Tomorrow it'll go until 6 p.m. Today went until 4. Tomorrow will be the elongated version of it, and it'll be more packed than today. On Friday, Mr. Southeastern takes the stage with tickets on sale now. Winner gets a free prom ticket and right. Winter Awards Night for Athletics will also take place on March 18th at 6:30 in the gym. Looking ahead, spring sports start on March 17th, and tickets are now available for our production of Legally Blonde. running May 16th to the 18th. And the STEP team has announced its spring recital in Senior Night for May 22nd. All in all, there's a lot happening this month, and everybody is extremely excited to be in attendance. Excited for the busy month ahead.
Well, thank you so much for your report. And I have a question. Is your shirt kind of an announcement or kind of?
Yeah.
Are you ready to announce yet? Or
I've recently committed to Florida International University. I'll be studying sociology with a minor in criminal justice to tie back into the shop.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. I'm really happy for you. Okay, moving on to audiences and communications.
All right, so at this time, I would like to invite our Legal and Protective Services teacher, Patty Allen, to discuss a field trip opportunity for our students.
Hi everyone, Patricia Allen. This I made about 10 copies, so if you want to take a look at it. We actually did the trip last year. It was our first year doing it with the seniors. Very successful. This year we're going to be leaving a little bit earlier, just so we can kind of fit more in. The kids were amazing. When we got there, we traveled with 4 state police officers. When we got into New York, we did the 911 memorial. Then we attended the New York Police patrol boats, where we went onto the boats. They gave us a tour around the Statue of Liberty, and they kind of took us out where the U.S. air flight landed with no casualties, but it kind of showed them how many first responders were there waiting when that plane landed right on the Hudson River. So just to kind of see that, I can tell you that my seniors were like very emotional and very like touched and couldn't believe like how all the first responders got together to save so many lives at that 911, and just to walk through it. Most of them would have spent more hours there if they could have. Unfortunately, we had a time limit, so. The only hiccup we had is there was an accident on the road when we came back, so it took us like an extra hour to get back. So we're trying to leave a little bit earlier this way. We got back around 11. We were hoping to get back around 10. So that's pretty much it. Again, we'll still have our 4 state troopers that will be traveling with us. The seniors are excited. We're planning it for April 17th this year, just so we're not interrupting the kids that are in the College Now program. They have finals, and then in May, so we don't want to interrupt that. And then we have prom. We have the senior trip to Japan, so we're trying to make sure that everybody can participate without interrupting, and not being able to knock off. So that was our easiest date and our best time. So you can take a look on how it meets our curriculum, how it follows the frameworks for criminal justice, and the objectives. It also has the schedules and contacts for the parents, and school committee, and our arrival and our itinerary, which is enclosed inside the letters to the parents.
Just a quick question for you. How many students are you expecting to attend on this trip? And like in previous years, did all the seniors attend, or did some not?
Last year we had all of the seniors. I'm pretty sure there might have been one senior that did not go, but and the only senior that we might, because she is going to Japan. And by the way, she made this shirt. So other than that, but I said, you know what, you come and you'll sleep on the plane ride because you don't want to sleep when you get on that plane the next day.
So how many seniors this year?
We have 30 seniors.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? No. Sorry, I can
Because
take a
this
motion
is
to
out
approve.
of New England,
Yeah.
we do need a vote to
Yep.
approve from the school committee. And Madam Chair, Robin Zoll has joined us virtually.
Okay. Hi, Robin.
Hi.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Well, no, we need to start.
Move to approve the field trip for the Legal and Protective Services seniors to go to New York City in April of 2025.
Okay. You want a second, Ron?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? If not, we'll bring it to vote. We do need to do a roll call vote because we have somebody participating virtually.
Roll call vote. Jessica?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Christine?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Chelsea?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Jerson?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. Thank you very much.
Everybody? Miss Allen.
Thank you.
Have fun. All right, next on the agenda is the DECA ICDC Nationals trip to Orlando, Florida.
Correct. And one of our DECA students has qualified for the national competition in Orlando, Florida. And this is both out of state and overnight. So we do need the approval of the school committee, and this was budgeted for in our athletics and activities.
Any questions around that trip?
No.
If not, I will entertain a motion to approve this one as well.
Move to approve the DECA out-of-state field trip and the overnight as presented by the superintendent.
Second?
All right, any further discussion? If not, let's bring it to a vote.
Jessica?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Christine?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Chelsea?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Jerson?
Yes.
And Robin?
Yes.
All right, motion passes 9-0. Thanks,
you.
everybody. Thank you. Okay, moving on to public announcements.
Let's see. Within announcements, we just simply have the athletic schedule, the conferences and conventions for the next couple of weeks. I do apologize to the school committee. I sent you out the wrong date for the legislative breakfast, but most of you caught it and referred. So that legislative South Shore Roundtable legislative breakfast is tomorrow at 8:30. And Mark and I will be taking the school vehicle from here at by 7:30 if anyone wants to go.
Excellent. All right, moving on, news articles.
There's some just news articles for you to peruse at your leisure.
Okay. Well, we're moving on to the consent agenda. I do want to do things a little bit differently this time. Representative Souza is not here, so we do not need to break out the payroll warrants separately as we normally do. So I would like to combine all of item 5, which is the consent agenda, with 6C and 6D, and take them all together. So I'll entertain a motion to accept.
Move to approve the consent agenda from A to I with the caveat as presented by the chair.
Can you get a second?
Second?
All right, any further discussion? All right, well, let's vote. Okay.
Okay, roll call vote. Jessica?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Christine?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Chelsea?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Jerson?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 9-0. I do want to give some acknowledgements. First to Jessica Cefalo of New Bedford for a variety of items that were donated to the Early Education and Care Program. A DeLonghi portable AC unit from Stephen Van Voorhees of Raynham for the Early Education and Care Program. And then there was also a donation of a variety of materials from the Double E Company for the Precision Machine Program. So thank you very much for those donations. All right, so we're now on to the Treasurer's Cash Report.
Hello.
Hello.
If you notice in your packet, there's actually 2 reports. I was not at the meeting last month, so the December 31st Treasurer's Report is there, as well as the January 31st. But as the year-to-date, I'll just read the January 31st. That's okay. If you have any questions on the other, just let me know. So these are the cash balances of January 31st. The summary financial position is on page 1 there, showing the revenue and expenditures by category. Cash flow report follows that with an ending cash balance of $12,892,842. On the next page is the budget to actual revenue. Not much comes in January. but in February, the assessments start coming through, so it looks better than it's presented there to date. The next page is the salaries overview for the salaried employees and the hourly employees. Is a total to date of $14,669,000. The following page is the cash reconciliation that you're used to looking at. Actually, it's in really good shape. The variance being researched is down to $11.33, so that's pretty good. And the only thing to note there is we had a CD that matured for the the investment certificate of deposit was at $2 million. It was on a 9-month CD that matured January 1st at 5%, so you'll see the balance is up $74,864 there. That's about all there is to report. The outstanding items are the checks and the different transfers that go out beginning the following month. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If you
Thank
want
you,
to go
Karen.
back and revisit December, we can as well.
Yep. Any questions for Karen? No. I'll entertain a motion to accept.
Move to accept the treasurer's cash reports.
Second.
I almost said thank you. Any further discussion? If not, we'll bring it to a vote.
Jessica?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Christine?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Jerson?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes 9-0.
Thank you.
Moving on to the Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Administration's report, and Mark.
Yes, good evening. So you'll see our appropriated budget. I can answer any questions there. Roughly 58% of our budget is still available at this point. But that being said, we still have our bond payments to make, our assessment to state retirement. So just those two there, about 1.7 million, but still leaving us in good shape for the remainder of the year. And like I said, at this point, we're starting out to look at different opportunities to offset the different accounts. So if any textbooks may have not been purchased, or maybe there were some discounted rates, so we move that money to be allocated line, and looking for things that we can maybe purchase for next year's budget this year, freeing up some money for next year to always improve going forward.
Thank you.
And you'll also see the revolving accounts, so those are in a healthy place, ins and outs. Again, nothing that I didn't expect to see there. And these are funds that we can carry forward from one year to the next. So, is there any questions or anyone has any, or?
Any questions for Mark?
No.
All right, well, thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, now we're moving on to old business and STEM building update.
It is not that old. We just started building
Mountain,
it.
right?
I know it's taken about 8 years off of my list.
Not so old business, that's old business.
Yeah, I took a walk before the meeting started just to get eyeballs on it today. Things are looking better. We're getting there. So interior painting is ongoing. Roof trim is going to be started next week. The final tie-in will be done on the roof edge. The heater was started today, so we're going to have heat in the building, even though it doesn't have windows. Don't do that at home. It's a bad idea. Doors are in place, window clips are installed Thursday and Friday. Windows installation beginning on Tuesday. Outside door pads will begin next week. Sprinkler tie-in on Thursday once the heater has been proven and it runs and it doesn't quit on us, because once you put water in the sprinklers and it freezes, it's game over. So that's the report as of this week. Hopefully Thursday we get a little bit better news on some windows. I'd really like to see them here.
What's the holdup?
It all depends on which one you
Okay.
ask. You're getting some different stories, and you know, they wanted to put the frames in and then glaze them on site. That's a no because of the temperatures. It just won't seal. That's not a good idea. So, don't know what they're struggling with as far as supply chains. I don't see much, and I buy raw materials all the time. I don't see much of a supply chain issue, so I don't know what theirs is. Can't control it.
Yeah,
all,
they have
I
lots of
guess.
answers to that.
Yeah.
All right, any questions for Andy?
I didn't miss anything, did I? Okay.
Alright,
Mark
thank
and I
you.
spent a lot of time talking about trim colors.
You didn't want to go with the blue?
No,
What color did you go with?
it's a gray, it's a lovely modern
No, you have to
gray
give
color.
us like the Pantone identifier.
So it's,
So boring.
it's, what is the ceiling is like glitter gray or something, or it's
And the walls are nebulous white. You know?
nebulous white are the walls.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's just those lights up in that room.
Yeah. We originally went with peppercorn, but I was told that was a little bit too dark, and so we went, I can't, it's something, it's
I
like,
love
next
peppercorn.
yeah, it's like gallery gray or something like that. It's very lovely.
I just want it up and done.
Thank you for being considerate, you know, the color choosing.
Excellent.
Okay.
So that's it for old business. Now we're moving on to new business and remote participation at school committee meetings.
Great, so at March 31st, the ability to conduct entirely virtual, like school committee meetings or other public meetings, will expire. Senator Tarr from Gloucester, I think, up that way, has filed some legislation to extend that another year. That does not prohibit us from having a meeting like this, where we have a quorum physically present in the room and we have a member who participates remotely. What they're really talking about is like the pandemic era, no one's here and we're all participating remotely. So at this point, unless something changes, as of March 31st, we wouldn't be able to host like an entirely virtual school committee meeting, but we'll see. There is some support for extending it another year.
I believe that's how the town of Easton does it now, it's fully remote.
Yeah, a lot of places have gone full remote, especially in like sort of
Because it's hostile.
western parts and
yeah.
rural parts of the state where it's a little bit more
Exactly.
challenging for everybody to come together, so. We'll see, but just to clarify, it does, we can still have a meeting where some members participate.
Okay. And moving on to the FY26 budget.
So we've started having some preliminary conversations with our towns. I know Mark Morris and Jen Souza went out and met with the town of Foxborough. I don't know if you want to give a little update
Yeah,
on
no,
that.
very supportive, happy with what's going on. Obviously, just questions about the, some newer members, Chapter 70 questions, always that, the tricky formula, how does that get assessed to each of the communities? So, we did our best to explain it to them. I think they have a better understanding now. But again, very supportive of the school and our students and staff.
So Deb distributed amended sheets.
Yep.
Is there any budget sheets? Do we know why?
Yes.
It said FY25, so it's to correct the
So
FY26.
And it's the same thing, but
the
Yeah.
data was correct. The numbers are correct. Okay. All right, so we'll do our, financial roadshow in the towns over the coming, the city of Brockton. Brockton's always the last one in June. And as we get ready to go out to your communities, we'll let you know when we're going to appear, so you can attend if you wish.
Okay. Moving on to superintendent's contract. So several months ago, I had announced our intent as a school committee to enter into contract negotiations with Superintendent McLennan. We have decided to start that process just to be transparent with everyone. And I received a proposal from Superintendent McLennan that I feel is fairly reasonable. So the school committee will be meeting in an executive session to discuss it further. But I don't anticipate the process taking a very long time. I think we could come to a mutual agreement rather quickly. So, as long as everyone's in agreement, hopefully by the next school committee meeting, we'll be able to vote on the contract. So I'm really excited to be entering into these negotiations with you and look forward to finding a place somewhere in the middle.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, members of the school committee, for your confidence and your support during these first 3 years as superintendent. I really consider myself to be very fortunate to have a committee that is absolutely 100% here for the right thing, and that is to support our students, to support our faculty and staff, to support my administrative team, and certainly to be very supportive with me and provide the appropriate oversight, and I really do appreciate each of you and your students, so thank you.
Thank you, Holly.
Okay. Okay, moving on to the chair's report. I don't have very much to say. All that I will say is for the March 25th hold that we typically have for meetings, which is our fourth Tuesday, it's really going to depend on how we do with negotiations tonight. In executive session, we might want to continue on to the 25th. We may not want to. If we don't need it, then what I'll do is we'll do some subcommittees scheduling at that time, and we can discuss that to see what would make the most sense in terms of efficiency to do that. And that's really all that I have to say. There's a lot of excitement that I have for things going on at school. Like I did attend the skills little celebration last week, which was really sweet, but I don't want to take that away from our acting principal because I think there's just a lot of exciting things to talk about. So I'll leave that to her. But somebody who I think probably has a lot to report on is our legislative liaison, and Barbara. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be back with all of you in person. It's a lot better than being a little picture on a screen. And actually, there are many things, legislatively, there are many things going on both federally and locally. However, the big issue for us was the DESE meeting last night. Now, if any of you were able to stream the meeting, you would have seen comments from a number of people to support us. Representative Scanlon was there, an employer that employs vocationally trained people and was very eloquent in talking about that. MAVA and superintendents from many of the CTE schools, all speaking on behalf of our position that open lottery is not the answer. So, but I was very proud that our superintendent, you know, I'm yelling, Holly's here, she's on. It's like a star was on, but well, she acquitted herself beautifully as always, as did the others. But I'm going to leave it to her and her report to report on the results because she was in the room where it happened. That's right.
Boy,
That's slick, Barbara.
That was good.
Put me on a cliffhanger.
Right downhill.
Is that it for your report?
Yes,
Okay,
I could go on for
I'm sure you
a
could.
very
I'm
long
sure you
time.
could.
And I'll do it at another time.
Okay, thank you, Barbara.
I'm
We're
gonna
just
do
happy
it
to have
all
you
the
back here. Let's see, so report of the Personnel Subcommittee. And Jerson.
So should we leave it for the superintendent?
Yeah, I mean, we might as well, right?
I know, we might just look at two positions, revisions to two positions, just a title. One was the TI Student Services Advisor, and the other one was our Executive Director of, I got the new title, Executive Director of Talent and Community Affairs. That is a new title for Dr. Rob's position. Well, we made a change, obviously. What we had before was Executive Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And with everything that's going on, we thought it would be better for all if we took a look at that and revised it a little bit. The job description didn't change much about it, so it was just a title change. So just a dressing that was changed, nothing else.
And I do want to clarify that, you know, this is a change based on some feedback we got from school committee and others,
Right.
that the job title could distract from the work of that department and of Dr. Delalue, and there is no change to his role or his job duties. I do want to tell you that there is some misinformation circulating in the school that this is a major change to what he does and that it would incorporate both his position and the role of the Executive Director of Access and Engagement. So I want to clarify that that is not the case. Those are two separate roles with two very separate job responsibilities. And I'm not sure where that confusion came from, but this is really just an update to his title to ensure that while we continue to be focused on equitable inclusive practices, that titles and words sometimes can distract from that, or even become a detriment. So that's really all that this is. There is no change in the structure of the district office.
Right, and there's no change in the job description itself, it's only the title
Very
change.
positive.
Christine, I
Yes.
have one more thing.
Yes.
I forgot Robin, who's up there.
Actually, you know what, can we finish this and then go back, because
Yes,
we need
go
to take
back.
a vote. All right, thank you.
And then I do want to, the TI Student Services position, what the job responsibilities were changed to align with what that position has become and grown into over probably a decade. So there are more substantial changes there, and I did want to point that out. But
Right. So, for this, it was brought out from Personnel Subcommittee and needs to go to a full vote. So I will entertain a motion to accept the revisions.
Move to accept the revisions of the Technical Institute Financial Aid and Student Services Advisor and the Executive Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion job descriptions as recommended by the Personnel Subcommittee on February 25th, 2025. Just want to also make sure that, for the record, that people understand, we didn't talk about the mission. And I'll go on the record, I didn't think the DEI title, I thought it was unnecessary, especially in the context of understanding that that is our mission, to make sure that there's an equitable and inclusive experience here at Southeastern. I don't think you need a job title to make sure that that mission is moving forward. That is my motion.
Second?
Any further discussion? That will bring it to a vote.
Roll call vote. Jessica?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Christine?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Chelsea?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Jerson?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion passes 9-0. And other reports, don't mean to put you on the spot, but I do. Andy, do you want to report back on athletics that we just had?
Oh, yeah, we just had a, very nice meeting, great, very informative. We had 2 students report on their experiences here at the schools with pros and cons, which was really nice to hear. It's always, we love hearing the pros, but we really need to hear the cons, because that's the only way we're gonna fix some things. And then, Athletics Director Tripp gave, updates on uniforms and purchases, and the coaches, demographics and whatnot on participation, which was very enlightening to see. So that was good to see. All good stuff.
Great. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Want to return back to Barbara?
Yes. Thank you.
Just a quick thing, there will be a Division III legislative dinner on April 10th at 6 o'clock in the Boots and Shovel.
Oh.
And Robin said she would be pleased if everyone, or as many as was possible, could support the dinner.
Can you say the date and time again?
Yes, it's going to be on the 10th of April, and it will be at 6 o'clock in the Boots and Shovel.
Thank you. And thank you, Tony, for bringing me back there.
Why can't I run this stupid phone?
Okay. Moving on to the report of administrators now and the report of the superintendent.
great. So I was in the room where it happened last night.
Do tell.
And there were a lot of positive things that happened.
Yeah.
I think if you got a chance to watch the meeting, there were 10 folks, including myself, who offered comments in support of vocational education, and some selective criteria for our admissions process. We also heard comments from the vice chair, who expressed his real disappointment in the fact that vocational schools and vocational superintendents and administrators were, in his words, defamed as people who intentionally engage in discriminatory practice. And at least as a moral victory, that was very powerful to us, that was at least publicly acknowledged, because the data does not show what they had claimed from the beginning, right? So, that being said, just a few hours before that meeting, they released a completely different set of regulations than the ones we had last Tuesday night. And these give us two options. One is a blind admissions lottery. The other one is a so-called weighted lottery. So a weighted lottery means that every student who applies goes in the pool. Doesn't matter. Everybody who applies goes in the pool. If you meet certain thresholds, you get an extra ticket, right? So you might get 2 chances in the lottery instead of 1. The thresholds are, if you have not had a serious disciplinary infraction in the 7th or 8th grade, you get an extra ticket. And if you have 26 or fewer unexcused absences, you get an additional ticket for having great attendance.
26.
26?
Respectfully.
26 over 270 school days. So you're looking at all of 7th grade and half of 8th grade, okay?
So students get PFMLA as well,
I would
just so
fire
you know.
someone that had.
That's 13 per year.
It's 18, basically it's 18 unexcused absences in 7th grade and 9 unexcused in the first half of 8th grade. So,
And only if you miss 20 days.
but you get an extra point. Like that's not good attendance. That's really bad attendance. So I took our class of 2028 admissions data, because that's data that we've vetted through. That's the data that we've sent to DESE. That's the data I have the most confidence in, and looked at who would be included, excluded, who would get the extra points. Out of 1,043 completed verified applications, all but 7 students would get the extra ticket for admission for attendance. 99.3% of all students would get an extra ticket for attendance. And then if we looked at the discipline piece, only 22 out of 1,043 students would not get the extra ticket for discipline. There was only 1 student, 1 out of 1,043 applicants, who would only get 1 ticket. Now, I spoke to the Secretary of Education and expressed my concern that even a student who has serious, and I spoke to the Federation about this, even a student has serious disciplinary infractions, including violence and felonies, goes in the pool. They don't get an extra ticket for that, but they go in the pool. So basically, it is a blind admissions lottery. Now, the other component of this is that they will allow us to consider student interest as a precursor to get into the pool, right? That could be an ungraded interview, could be a letter of recommendation from a guidance counselor, it could be a video, it could be, but it's a very low bar to reach, but it's something. It does require some effort beyond just filling out an application, but there's a catch. If we want to use interest, we are required to host not 1, but 2 open houses and 3 virtual information sessions. So in my comments, as you know, last night, I explained to them that we would have to negotiate a second open house with our federation. We would have to pay them for an additional day. That compensation alone is over $70,000. That doesn't include support staff who would have to be here to help with the open house, or the actual cost of running an open house, in terms of materials and supplies and those kind of things. So this is not great. So what I am asking, first of all, is I'm asking the school committee to join with me in sending a response. I'm asking all of our business leaders. Our business leaders are not happy about this situation, particularly as it comes to as it pertains to attendance. And we feel very strongly that attendance matters at a vocational school. It matters all the time, but it matters at a vocational school. We'll be sending out some template letters that MAV is helping us draft, so that folks don't have to start, try and figure out what to say or whatever. The second piece of this is that we need to think about, that you need to think about as a committee, is we do not apportion seats in our admissions process by community. And so far, that's worked out okay, because the selective criteria provide some leveling between communities. But we need to start thinking about what it looks like when we have to just start picking names out of a hat, and Brockton has 70-something% of the names in the hat. I did start running some random lotteries, just based on the data we had from last year. And so far, all the lotteries, when I have done them, actually result in lower enrollment for Brockton. Anywhere from 10 to 25 students, which is the opposite of what they're trying to accomplish with the lottery. On the flip side, it sometimes is a big spike for some of our smaller communities. And that's just as bad. So I think as a school committee, we need to start thinking about outreach to our communities. This would go into effect for the next admission cycle. So we would need to know by October 1st of next year if we're going to try and apportion seats by community, and if so, what does that look like? And what's the process that we need to go through as a region to get to that place? Or if we want to see how it goes the first couple of times and hope for the best.
You could bankrupt Brockton, you could bankrupt a town.
Yeah. Even.
No, I don't think we can just hope for the best. I think that's a wrong message, I
I mean, I
think.
guess the question is how many applications do we get per town?
Well,
And then
but
what's
we
our
have
percentage
data
of
that
their?
said, like East Bridgewater's had 15, probably on average for the last, I don't know, you know.
So like Minuteman, I'll give Minuteman as an example, it's not the only example, but they do a 4-year rolling average, looking at enrollment, right? So if 5% of, their enrollees come from X community, then that's the number of seats that they get, and that just every year they do that.
So they don't
rolling
increase it or decrease it?
average. Well, they do, based on the average, but it probably doesn't fluctuate a whole lot.
And then it would increase as we increase, as much as we can.
Some towns already think, well, some people already think we do that anyways.
Yes, there's a lot of unknowns.
So again, I just think it's something that we need to be prepared for, because some kind of lottery system is coming out of this, and whether it's a weighted lottery or a blind lottery or whatever, clearly the push is to make it very, very difficult for us to do anything but
Do a lottery, so.
And honestly, if those are the criteria, then I would just run a blind lottery. That's, they're not criteria
I
at
do have
all.
one other question. So did they take back that letter of recommendation? So prior they said they couldn't get a letter of recommendation, or we couldn't consider guidance counselors?
We can't score it.
Okay.
So it's an ungraded expression of interest, but you have to do something besides just fill out an application to get into the pool, right?
Okay.
So, which I support
Right,
fully,
I mean, that's not, it can't be hard
But-
for students.
Adding a second open house, I know, was a challenge. I'm sure businesses would be willing to help out, because this is our livelihood. This is how we continue to grow and be prosperous in Massachusetts, is vocational
Can't
schools.
you advertise that we already have a second open house when we did the SDI programs?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we could drum up support that way, somehow.
I just don't
I
know
don't
why
want
we
to.
would need one, and when we have
It's a lot.
3,000, 4,000 people that come to our open house, right? It's not a lack of access to information. That's
Right,
definitely
that's-
not our.
Oh, absolutely not, but if they're gonna require it, if this is going to be a step, I mean, this is not something I would,
Yeah.
say, no, we're not gonna do that and just go blind. I would certainly give it the college effort to get a second one going.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, that's where we are. There is a 60-day comment period.
Yeah, it's interesting, they don't seem to look at the data, they don't seem to look at any of that, these were very compelling people that spoke, in a very considered way. And it's as if they didn't hear it. They just didn't hear it. Where is the push coming from? It's
There's a very strong voice within the governor's office and the attorney general's office, and
Barbara, you should be lobbying.
yeah. And
What's the penalty if we don't?
oh man, I don't think lose all our Chapter 70 funding, or I don't know. That's not really.
We become fully STI?
Holly, can you just
Fantastic.
explain the piece about serious
So right now, we have, we give 10 points to a student out of 100 for discipline. But the only discipline we can consider is discipline that comes under, which one is 37H and three quarters,
No,
3 and a
37H,
half?
about 37H and a half.
Yeah,
And what
so-
are those violations?
It's like weapons or
Weapons.
assault of a teacher.
Assault of a teacher?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we
Or-
can consider.
Or behavior that results in suspensions for more than 10 days.
So it would be, so that also they added on if you had more than 10 suspensions or other issues maybe that fell under like 37H and 3/4. So
Yeah.
you have consecutive, you have 10 absences, 10 violations total that you've been suspended for,
Yeah.
then you can consider that.
We can consider that.
We can't consider.
again,
But we
ten
can't
suspensions in a middle
consider it
school.
in either the blind lottery or the
Yeah,
weighted
10
lottery.
suspensions
But
in
their
middle
name
school
still
is
goes
not-
in the hat
Their their
regardless.
name
They
still
still
goes
goes
in
in
the
the
hat.
hat.
Right. So we have those people in a pool, but then if they did commit a crime, like if they did,
Yeah.
then they just don't get a second ticket.
So,
And so, hold on, let me figure out my thought here. So, so a part of our comment will be that we are opposed to that, correct?
Yes.
Now, I'm just gonna ask this question, and I had to nudge myself because I know that we're on this live feed here, but I really want, just gonna ask this directly. Why can't we sue Desi? And the reason why I'm asking that is because most parents, I'm a parent, or most of us are parent, if we knew that someone had a significant amount of behavioral displays that led to suspensions, especially around violence, we would want them to be educated, but not necessarily in this environment. I hope I'm saying that correctly, because I don't want people to think I'm
No,
saying
and,
not to
and,
educate.
and that's the.
And I don't wanna
that's
be
the
politically
argument
correct
that-
on this.
That's the argument that we
Thank
make,
you.
right?
Look,
It's
it's
not
not
that
getting
student
feisty.
does not deserve a quality
Right.
education, but there's a very big difference between sending that student to a school where they're gonna be given a laptop and some textbooks
Right.
versus a school where you're gonna be handed knives and blowtorches, right?
Right.
Like, there's a, it's
So
just
you
a very
articulated that
different,
tonight.
yeah,
Thank you.
it's just a very different, this may not be the,
Yeah, well, that's
the
what I'm
appropriate
saying.
educational placement for that student. right?
Okay.
Now,
Right now.
the other argument is that discipline is often subjective and that there's a lot of implicit bias in discipline and.
So I,
No, those two are very serious.
Right,
Like,
well-
I've studied that, and I've been on that argument.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. So wait a minute, let me just say this. I've been on that argument, and I understand that.
behavior.
Someone that punches a teacher, that's not bias. It's not a black thing. That's someone punching a teacher. So I guess my question is, I know I'm gonna get in trouble. So I guess my question is,
Tony Branch is speaking for himself.
yeah, right.
I said, feisty.
So why can't,
So again, we're talking about a very small group of students.
yeah.
If you are being suspended for 10 days as a 7th grader or 8th grader,
Right.
this is your behavior, it's very unusual. And it would exclude a very small group of students, but it's important for us to know and understand that.
Yeah.
But again, in our current process, maybe a student had a bad 7th grade, right? And they were suspended maybe 2 days here and 5 days here and it added up to 10 days. 8th grade, they're doing great, and we now have a letter from a guidance counselor who says, hey, Johnny or Susie had a really tough 7th grade, but they've pulled things together and they're a great kid and this is what you can balance it out. Right now, we don't, under this lottery system, there's nothing to balance that out. There's nothing to provide a full picture of who the student is.
Okay. All right.
So, honestly, my biggest concern is the absenteeism. That
Right.
is unreal to me, that 26 unexcused absences would result in an extra ticket in a lottery. You could have 50 excused absences and 26 unexcused absences, and you're still getting extra credit for attendance.
What's our attendance now? 14 days? Like unexcused?
To get
Well,
full
13,
points,
it's 13,
It's
yeah.
tiered.
It is tiered, yeah.
But to
Yeah,
get
but in
full
total
points,
for
it's
the year and a
11,
half, yeah.
Did Desi explain to us how this is gonna help our wait list?
It doesn't.
Well, the question, the goal is,
That's the whole point, right, is to,
oh, I thought the goal was to make it more diverse.
you're not gonna do that, we've already established
Which we've
that.
already- yeah.
I mean, we're more diverse than
Yeah,
every other
right.
program around.
But that's because we have
That's why it
access to
doesn't work.
Yeah, it
diverse
doesn't work.
When you have a community that is predominantly, diverse.
It's diverse,
Yeah.
it's what we
It
are.
tilts it's like,
Right, so
I think people are not being fair
because
about
we
this.
because we do well here and other schools are not doing well, it's gonna be
But
a
it can't be
blanket.
all of
We're-
us paying for that.
We're paying
Well,
for
and,
that.
and
Right,
some
exactly.
of our regional vocational school districts are not diverse.
Right,
Right.
because they don't have that access.
They need to figure that out.
Is there?
But I mean, the
But the towns
communities,
themselves,
the
right.
communities they serve are not diverse,
Yes.
Right,
right?
that's-
So, you
It
know,
goes back to what we were saying
Right.
about the hiring pool.
Is is there no way that Desi would roll this out to some schools and maybe not all for the first couple of years? Is that like, are we allowed to give options on the table outside of every school is
I
gonna
know
do a blind
that,
lot?
like, I will say that, like, Greater New Bedford has kind of stepped up and said, why don't you let us be a pilot and see how this works itself out? Because they have a very diverse anchor district
That's
there
interesting,
as
that's
well.
interesting.
And
Yeah.
they're a 2,200, 2,500 student school.
Okay.
But before we do this, like, big rollout where we don't know what the impact is going to be.
Yeah.
So, I think for now, our steps are to, collectively express our concerns and talk about real impact for Southeastern, for our students, what that looks like. Engage our business community, particularly around the issue of attendance, which they feel very strongly about.
Absolutely.
The gentleman last night said, if somebody
Yes.
had 26 unexcused
You fire
absences,
them.
they would not be working for me.
Right.
Right? He's like, they wouldn't be working for me after 3. So
It was
I don't
very
know what
compelling.
this
It's a lot.
So it was very compelling, but it didn't seem to,
It didn't sway them.
didn't sway them.
Are they wouldn't be, I'm upset that they wouldn't be open to a waiver for those schools that are diverse. If that's the
That's a good
end
one.
result
That's-
that they're looking for, we're an example, and I'm very upset with the secretary, Tutwiler. He was here, he saw our diversity, we thought he would go back and put in a good word with the governor, but apparently that didn't work.
Well, he does say very, very positive things about our school, and
No,
he
he-
has
he
publicly
does.
said that we have a very diverse school. So I think he's probably thinking more globally.
Are they using student testimony, like seniors that have been accepted, freshmen, and then maybe like students who didn't get accepted? Like, are they taking those things into consideration
There
and all
were
the?
2 students from Bristol Aggie that spoke last night about, one a freshman and one a recent graduate, about the importance of recognizing student effort.
So
And,
it's hard. They don't have.
It was
They
all
don't have like a big diverse.
no.
It seems like
Community to pick
they've
from.
already made a decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's
Correct.
So we have 60 days to
playing
respond, and
around
like that's
with
it.
Going through the motions,
Yes.
right?
Great.
I mean, at a minimum, I'm hoping that we
This is
can
kind
get
of
some
them.
movement on the attendance piece,
That
to
is
be
good.
honest
The
with you.
behavior has been in place for a while, so
Yeah.
we,
Yeah, I
this
get
is, the freshman class is excellent, and teachers have said that this is one of the last couple of freshman classes have been great, so this behavior is been in place for a little while now, so we had this, and we've been okay. It's just, I think once you just let the guard down for everything, which is what's happening, is they're just letting the guard down for everything, and then it just sort of even what the schools work towards and sending students here and preparing students, to make sure that their students that really want to attend here and come here. I'm just afraid that people are just going to want to win the lottery, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
not really
Exactly.
want to attend Southeastern, that you just want to sort of win, and that leaves the students that really, really do want to be here and have a business that they want to take over and really dreams that are deeply rooted in vocational education will miss out.
Interesting stuff. Okay.
So,
One thing that's going on.
that's one thing.
That's
That's the biggest thing, and obviously it's going to be extremely impactful for us. Not everyone has the kind of applications that we do. Not everyone has the wait list that we do. So
There's
it's-
the other side of that as well, like our co-op numbers are huge, right? That'll change. Businesses will walk away. if the students don't show up every day, businesses will walk away. It'll just stop.
We'll just have to make it.
And it was like that back, I don't know, what, 2012, 2013, the co-op numbers were much lower. So, to put us back there again is not helping us. It's not helping our students, it's not helping our communities.
Well, we're not lowering our standards once students get here, right? Our expectations will remain high.
Right, but when a company takes a kid for co-op and he doesn't show up 3 of the 5 days,
Yeah,
we're
that's a
not
black eye
gonna
on us.
continue
Right.
doing this.
That's
right.
That's right.
We're just not gonna continue doing it.
But
That's what happens.
We have high expectations for attendance before students go out on co-op, right?
Yeah, they have to meet.
They do. So, our expectations for students is not going to be lowered, even if DESI does lower them. I think they're sending the wrong message to students. So I will coordinate with the chair on getting a message out.
Yeah.
And then, we just asked all of our advisory board members to respond to the last set of
Right.
regulations, and then this came out, yesterday morning, so. But MAVA's been pretty good at getting a template letter together, because I know some of our businesses sometimes, our constituents don't know exactly what to say or how to say it, and so they've been working on different drafts for different types of organizations. I do want to bring you up to date on our strategic plan, so we continue to work on that as a leadership team behind the scenes. Our next big group meetings March the 26th, I believe, from 3 to 6, and so we're hoping to have a final draft. It's a little messy, but we'll see. And then the principal search, we've had 2 interviews with finalists, and the last one is Thursday, and so hope to make a decision by the beginning of next week. Okay? And then I am the only vocational superintendent on the search committee for the new commissioner of education.
Congratulations.
Lucky you, huh?
As you may have heard, Pat Tutwiler is now the interim commissioner, or will be from the time that the acting commissioner leaves until July 1st. And so those interviews are ongoing as well. So that's some fairly interesting candidates.
Are they ready vocational? Of course not, why would they? Sorry I asked.
Thank you for apologizing.
But don't worry, I make sure to advocate on behalf of vocational.
Any more questions for Holly?
Is that something you have to apply for, or?
Oh, no. Just got drafted.
Thank you for your report.
Thank you, Holly.
Appreciate it. All right, next up is our acting principal's report, and Christina.
So we had a wonderful multilingual family event in Brockton at the Brockton Public Library. We had about,
I think 12 to 18 people.
12 to 18 people came, and it was great. I think we learned a lot. I think you don't know what you don't know till you're with people. And so it was a great sort of first step in just meeting people where they are, and then realizing, what some of the needs are. And so our next step, is to invite families here. We looked at with them, some very practical things, like the newsletter, are you getting that? And we were able to and they were really gracious to let us look at their phone, and they were getting it, or they didn't realize they were getting it. How to translate that so they're getting information. They have a lot of questions about school brains, so we need to do a presentation here. So we've offered to have a lunch here and really go through some of our technology that's a little bit more challenging to sort of navigate. And so we plan to do that. And then we'd like to have one more event back out in the community, because the relationship building was really important. And I think people are still shy to say what they need from us. And I think so the more that we build those relationships, and Lariana Galveo did a wonderful job, and Katie, and all of our translators and our multilingual family support team was amazing. They did an excellent job in making everyone feel welcome, and just building those relationships. They made personal phone calls to families, so again, we weren't relying on technology to get information out there. I do think some families, you know, with all of immigration issues, people are probably afraid to come out, so we weren't sure how many we would have, so we were actually pleasantly surprised by the amount of families we had, and we certainly understand, so we'd like to expand on that and continue to build on that. The students have been doing some really amazing things. You had mentioned Skills USA, that you were able to go to the awards night. That happened to be on the same night, but the students won gold medals in 14 categories, silver medals in 13 categories, bronze medals in 14 categories. We had 2 state officer candidates, and we have 36 students that are moving on to states. Plus some leadership competitions. So our students did a really amazing job. They were so nervous and excited, but they did great. We had a student in DECA who we now have a gold certified hawk shop as a result of the work that she did. So that's great. She's going on to Orlando. That was the one that you had approved tonight. So that's excellent. We're very, very grateful for that. Our medical assisting students the students are passing their CCMA exams and moving forward. And then the science fair, I don't know if you want to talk about that at all. At the science fair this weekend at BSU, we had 3 students that also won at the science fair. Do you want to talk about that?
This is awesome.
Hey, science. Heather was nice enough, and we did. We had teachers that went, were able to go and support them on Saturday, so that was really great. And one of them was Heather's student, and there was a project that she had done, like with the science teacher and also with Heather, so that was great. And then we had 2 others, so our students came in 3rd place. And really, what was nice about that is there were 75 cities and towns that were involved in that science fair. So for 3 of our students to sort of be on that list was pretty amazing. And we're doing our course selections. We were able to add some more honors courses. We're proud of that. We're really moving forward in a positive way. So I just am really pleased by everyone, the staff, the students, everyone has a really nice disposition this year and are working hard towards, we had a great student leadership meeting today about students that are going to be participating in a conference with Jared, so they are going to lead the conference. It's the team that we had that invited the secretary here, so they are going to be part of that, and also the bigger picture team. So all of those students got together today. Our meeting started at 8 and ended up ending at 11. They just had a lot to share on how they think we could shape our community and how to improve it, and how to encourage teachers to remember why they started this profession and why they started teaching. And that's the nature of Jared's portion of the conference, is why remember your why. And so he has presenters, and they are going to be a big part of that. So they've asked to do a live podcast here with us and sort of recreate the experience we had today in that room for teachers, to say they had wonderful things to say about our teachers. So I was able to go around to the teachers that they talked about today, of if this teacher hadn't believed in me, if they hadn't seen me, you have no idea what we experience before we come to school, and the things that we sort of see at night sometimes, and then when that one teacher just extends that kindness, or cares or believes in me, they'd be surprised at what I can succeed in doing. And so each of them had really significant stories about our staff and some staff along the way that have inspired them. So we're going to continue that work as well. So we want to make sure that students are part of, shaping the community, so that we know that it's a community for all of us, and that we're all rowing in the same direction. It can't just be the staff and doing all the work. Like, they have to do the work. They have to hold each other accountable to. So when they go in the bathroom, if they have a good experience, and in the hallways they have a good experience, and so they are very much a part of that, and they can see that, and they want to influence that. They're like, I don't want, our fellow classmates being disrespectful to teachers, or you know, to each other, you know, and if we can do anything, we can help each other be better people, you know. And then we've got the vocational and academic things down pretty well, so it's a great meeting. So we're doing some good things.
Great, thank you so much. Any questions for Christina? All right, moving on to the TI Director's report, and Pat.
So let's see. What's going on? We have been busy testing students for the Practical Nurse Program since May last year. I think we've tested about 500 applicants at this point. We've managed to, we're seating a class of 40 for the day in September, and that class is about half full at this point. With another, I think we have another 25 interviews scheduled, and then a bunch of other people who are getting their documents in, so then we'll probably be working on a wait list pretty soon. Usually there's some movement afterwards. You know, once we've seated the class, then other schools are accepting people at the same time, so people who've applied to multiple schools will move off. So being on the wait list is not a bad thing, so people do move off of that. So that has been going well. And the plumbing students are in their second semester. They did their Hot Works training and they're completing their job readiness training. They've actually started to get some work. Some of them, we try to get them to, if they can, get a job during the day as an apprentice, and then continue in school at night. So that's starting to work now for the plumbers. The electrical and HVAC students are brand new, so they're not that far yet. But other than that, that's going well. And we had an open house last Thursday night, March the 6th. We had about 140 people. 80 of them were students, or 90. 90 of them were actual students, but this open house tends to recruit a lot of juniors and seniors in high school, and so they often bring their families with them. We call it a trades open house, but I need a better name for it because they can look at medical assisting and cosmetology, the grants that we have, culinary and welding, but HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. Those are really the programs that get the most attention. Machine tool as well. We talk about that because that is also a dual enrollment option. And we tried a different format this year. Instead of touring them around the building in groups, because it's such a big building, we kind of give a lot of people wandering around at 11 o'clock at night if we don't have some control over it. But we sort of gave them maps and sent them down to electrical, plumbing, machine tool, and metal fab on their own so that they didn't have to go to every shop. And then we took them to plumbing because our plumbing shop is an outside building, and then took them to Cosmo and stuff. But we had some good feedback on the format, and I think it gave all of us more opportunities to just answer questions if somebody was looking for clarification about something. The plumbing and electrical process is confusing for people. You know, I think in vocational school we get it, but when you're coming from the outside in, the fact that there's extra classes afterwards and how to be an apprentice is always a little confusing. So we had a fair amount of time to answer those questions, and Andy was there with John Medeiros advocating for machine tool, and did convert one electrical student that we know of.
Got him.
Next
Went
day,
from 1 to 3 to 5. I want 6 this year.
we got an email the next day that said, I have made an application already to the electrical program, but after talking to the people in machine tool, I would like to switch.
You don't have any side deals with commission, do you?
I may have an opening for a machine teacher.
I would have to leave the school committee.
We can't have that. So I think the two of them doing the open houses is the reason we have 5 students in there during the day now. So that went very well. And so that's working for us, that format, I think. Kayla Weeks is a medical assisting student from Norton, and she is the Southeastern chapter's MAVA's post-secondary, CT rather, student of the year.
this is like the third or fourth year that Southeastern's had the post-secondary student, because Donna Becker is a force to be reckoned with, and she does a nomination every year. So Kaylee's doing well and is excited to receive that, and she's maintaining a 4.0 GPA while she's in class, and she's a slightly older student who's returned to school, so it's exciting to see her get that recognition. And then last year, well, for maybe 3 years, Pacific Dental Services Foundation has been giving our students scholarships, and so this year, one of our dental assistants is Catherine Murray, and they were in yesterday to award her with the Dr. Carolyn Gazel Dental Assisting Scholarship. And they also come and do like student interviews with our students. When we're doing the mock interviews, they come in and help us do the mock interviews, because we like the students not to know the people who are interviewing them, so they're not too comfortable. And then I think sometimes they just hire students. So we've had a couple students working for them over the years. So that is kind of a repeat, but a good thing to be able to repeat. And then at the bottom is just kind of what we have going on with our student services people. They, the recruiters, we have 2 of them now, Rhonda and Beth, and between them they're doing open houses and career fairs, and the Mass Hire does this big CAP Connecting Activities Partnership Career Day where they bus in high school students from all over the area, and I've done that day a few times. That's a lot of fun and very interesting. Nice to talk to a lot of the kids. The Southeastern kids usually go there too. They hang around our table and they ask very nicely if they can have our giveaways. That's it for the TI.
Great, thank you so much. Any questions?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So, many of you know I serve on the commission for the Council on Occupational Education, which accredits not only STI, but over 500 post-secondary institutes in the state, in the country. And I was down there for the meeting last weekend, and I want to tell you that when I go to those meetings, I always come here so grateful for Pat and her team because of the quality of the institution that they are running. And I think sometimes, because their footprint is smaller, perhaps their work is not as highlighted as the high school. But I want to tell you, we have a real asset in Pat and her team, and I really just want to acknowledge her and her work.
We have a great team.
You do have a great team.
Let's do it.
All right, moving on. Let's see if I can get this right. Executive Director of Talent and Community Affairs Report.
I love it.
It just rolls off the tongue.
It does roll off.
So, good evening, and please mind my voice. It's been awful for the last couple of weeks here. I'll start off with the athletics update. Some of the stuff that you've already heard, but just again, I just want to re-emphasize some of the things. Beginning Monday, March 17th, is our fall spring season will begin. We had a very successful winter season. A couple of things I'd just like to highlight. Our girls basketball team hosted the first tournament home game for first time in a long time, and they won the Mayflower League, which was the first time since 2008, which is a big congratulations. And I would like to have a big congratulations to Coach Brewster and the Lady Hawks for a job well done. In addition, their student Mia Ortega, who's a junior here in Cosmo, reached a historic milestone of 1,000 career points, attesting to her dedication and skill, and she'll be coming back for her senior year. So I think greater things are going to happen for our girls basketball program. Our cheer team finished second in the MIAA Division I competition and will compete in the New England Championship Sunday, March 23rd at Worcester State University. So if anybody has any time, they can make it Worcester State on Sunday the 23rd. As mentioned earlier with our student report, 4 of our boys track athletes qualified for the hurdle relay for the 3rd consecutive year under Coach Valente. They will compete in the New Balance Center in Boston on Saturday and Sunday, this Saturday and Sunday coming. So just to give a big thank you and congratulations to them, and let's root them on as they take this journey this week. Our winter awards night will be held on Tuesday, March 18th at 6:30 in the gym. All are welcome to attend from here, and encourage if you can make it, to celebrate our student successes. And right now we've revamped the winter events where we congregate as one whole unit for winter sports, and then each team will go to their own separate areas and celebrate amongst each other and do the superlatives and different awards.
I'm sorry, Rob, what was that date again?
That is the 18th.
Thank you.
At 6:30?
Yeah, at 6:30, yep, at the gym. And then March Madness was mentioned as well. That was today. So there's like student competitions where they have to get their own student teams. So that was today, and it will conclude tomorrow. So if anybody has any opportunity, tomorrow ends at 6, so it's a little longer. If anybody has an opportunity to go by and cheer the different teams that are challenging one another. A couple other clubs and activity events just to kind of give you a heads up. Junior prom in March 27th. Our freshman sophomore movie night, April 11th. And then I will update, there is a freshman sophomore spring dance, and our senior prom is at the end of May. I just don't know the exact date. I have it, but I didn't put it on here. So I'll update that and put it on there. That's what I forgot to do. I'm like, I forget something, and that's what I forgot. Human resource update. I'm pleased to welcome Savannah Cardoza, who's our new HR journalist. Officially joined us on March 6th. Under our guidance, Savannah will undergo, training, familiarize herself with Southeastern's system, policies, and operations, and hopefully ensuring a smooth transition for her. She's absolutely amazing, and I think she's going to do great things here at Southeastern. So can't wait for you all to meet her, and we're happy to have her. The principal search was already mentioned by Holly. Should conclude this week. It's been really a community event where a lot of individuals from the community have been working and helping out, and our students have been amazing, asking questions, being part of the panels. So it's good to see it really be a shared, transparent operation by everyone here at the school. And then finally, just some stuff just to make sure that we're keeping with equity and inclusion, and just you've seen some of the recent newsletters I sent out, one for Black History Month and Women's History Month. So stay tuned for more of those that we are sending out, just to kind of create awareness, educational resources to promote awareness and understanding of the various identities, journeys, and experiences of our students, faculty, staff members, and community. So, and that is it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I just wanted to thank Jerson and Tony for coming to our multilingual family event. That was really nice to see you. It was great having you there, so I really appreciate your support, and you could tell the families did too. Like, it just makes a difference, so thank you.
No, we thank you all for your work. We thank you for bringing Southeastern to Brockton, because it's been talked about for a very long time. Very impressive work. Very impressive. Thank you. It has nothing to do with us. It was just refreshing to see you all. Because, the community thinks Easton is so far away.
Yes.
Yeah. But so you brought it to our front door, and we appreciate it.
Okay, well, I am moving to go into executive session according to Chapter 30A, Section 21, Paragraph A3, which is necessary to discuss strategy in respect to negotiations and litigation because an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body, and to not reconvene in open session to adjourn the meeting.
Roll call vote.
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Christine?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Jerson?
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
Alright,
Kelsey, what you trying to say?
so,
What was that about?
I was gonna second it.
Oh.
Yes.
I'm gonna leave my laptop
Okay.
so that Robin
yes, so
can
Robin can
stay in
on.
the meeting, and Deb, if you'll just
Actually, so I just need Mark for just a little bit.
sure.
But I would like to I'd like to call a 5-minute recess until 7:23.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Mark.